Morning fog hung over Lakewood's glassy surface as the shrieking beep of a tow truck broke the peacefulness. Its mechanical arm towered above my personal dock like a vulture hovering over prey. 3 patrol cars accompanied it, their flashing lights cutting through the lakeside quiet. Standing tall at the center was Vanessa, vice president of the HOA, arms crossed as if commanding a SWAT mission instead of a low-life towing episode. Her neon orange visor yelled authority she didn't really have. Barefoot on the deck of my 40-foot sloop tide dancer, I drank coffee, observing the ridiculous scene with wry amusement. An officer came up, clipboard in hand, already looking fatigued. "Do you own this illegally parked boat?" he asked. I didn't answer. I simply produced my ID, harbormaster, Lakewood Authority. His face dropped quicker than Vanessa's last bid for HOA president. Her 911-fueled antic turned instantly into a public humiliation, and I reveled in every moment. It had begun 3 days previously over some trivial disagreement that only small societies are masters of. I had tied Tide Dancer up at my designated slip, a mooring I rightfully owned after years of restoring the boat to its shining splendor. The lake sparkled with a cloudless sky, the air filled with cedar and fresh water. I was securing mooring lines when I heard the unmistakable click of Vanessa's heels. She strode down the dock, exuding self-righteous indignation. Her gaze swept over my boat as if it had personally affronted her forebears. "You can't tie that beast here," she snapped, omitting any form of politeness. I pointed at the openly displayed sign 2 feet away, my name and title inscribed on it. "I own this dock," I said evenly. Vanessa pulled out a laminated copy of HOA bylaws like they were Holy Writ. Section 6.2, any building interfering with lakefront view harmony shall be removed forthwith. I couldn't help but burst out laughing, an honest, real laugh. Lakefront view harmony? It sounded like a failed soap opera. Vanessa didn't appreciate being teased. She walked away, phone already in her hand. I imagined she'd send a snarky email or leave a rant on the community forum. I didn't think she'd call 911 and report my boat as a public safety threat. When sirens sounded down the back road at dawn, I figured there'd been some sort of collision. Instead, the cavalry had shown up, for my boat. The officer who came over was looking confused. Dispatch had reported that an unauthorized boat was clogging emergency lake egress, something with no foundation in the maritime laws. Vanessa swooped in, gesturing at my boat as if it were a crime scene. "It's been illegally moored for days, desecrating our lake's appearance," she screamed, waving her bylaws around like evidence. The tow truck operator scratched his head. The officers exchanged looks, obviously perplexed. I let her vent for a minute before producing my ID. "You're the harbor master?" the lead officer asked, aghast. "Yep," I replied, grinning. "I control every mooring and dock on this lake, including hers." Vanessa's face went red. She spluttered something about fake IDs, but the officer was already signaling the tow truck to move on. "Ma'am, this is a private dock in his jurisdiction. HOA regulations don't come into play." A crowd had formed, neighbors with cups of coffee, joggers, even a child on a paddleboard. Vanessa's power play was public spectacle. Police drove off and left her standing alone, fuming. I knew she wouldn't stop, though. People like Vanessa don't give up. They ramp it up. The next day, a citation was on my gate. Tide Dancer was now a non-conforming nautical structure. It was laughably ambiguous, but showed her new tactic: weaponized bureaucracy. She underestimated me. I made another cup of coffee and cracked open a binder full of maps, permits, and city records. As harbor master, I didn't just control docks. I controlled all water activity within a 10-mile radius. Vanessa had just placed her own dock under scrutiny. My inbox flashed with screenshots of the community forum. Vanessa threatened me with using my title to bend rules. I remained silent. Silence allowed her to hang herself while I lined up a move that would put an end to this game. She scheduled an emergency HOA meeting to vote on a view disturbance ordinance, obviously directed at my boat. The following morning, I was sent a hastily typed email in Comic Sans telling me to take Tide Dancer away within 72 hours or else I'd be fined. I sent it to a friend at the county water office. He responded, "I hope she tries this in court." I started recording everything: emails, dated photos, recordings of HOA calls. When a suspicious dock inspector by the name of Gary showed up taking pictures, I demanded credentials. He produced a card with a Yahoo address and no company name. I politely requested he leave or be charged with trespass. That night, Vanessa bragged online about conducting an official obstruction audit, but neighbors were doubtful. "Isn't his dock older than the HOA?" one posted. "Hasn't that boat been there for years?" asked another. The tide was turning. I escalated smartly, sending a detailed report to the Marina Association, County Permitting Office, and Lakewood Development Committee, complete with attachments and witness statements. These agencies didn't care about HOA drama, but they cared about jurisdictional abuse. A few days after that, the county came by, entertained and slightly appalled. He assured the HOA they had no jurisdiction over the lake and subtly suggested an investigation. Neighbors began to come forward with their own Vanessa horror tales: tickets for weathered kayaks, tickets for stand-up paddleboards on grass, even measuring dock chairs with a ruler. Her battle wasn't so much against me, it was against the entire lake. Undaunted, Vanessa issued a special HOA town hall. She mobilized her handful of loyalists, ranting about rogue boaters and lakefront integrity. But the rest of the community was through with her. A local blogger heard about it and wrote an article, "Harbor Master versus HOA Tyrant," complete with a photo of Vanessa in the middle of one of her rants. She witnessed it. I knew, for the next morning she arrived at my dock, glowering. I waved. She didn't. Her support collapsed. The Lakewood Enforcement Board hearing was my day. As head of the Regional Enforcement Committee, I didn't merely enforce the rules, I helped create them. The community center was full. Vanessa began with a dramatic slideshow of fuzzy, storm-timed photographs of Tide Dancer and a presentation on visual harmony. She sat back, pleased. Then I rose. I introduced myself, unrolled a 6-foot permit map, and calmly marked off each HOA dock on the lake, then focused in on hers. Her dock? Constructed illegally after a permit lapsed. No environmental assessment, and an illegal concrete addition. Gasps spread throughout the room. I read authenticated complaints, her bogus citations, trespassing, slander. Then I reported news of a county investigation into the HOA's actions. Vanessa blanched. She tried to blame me for forging documents, but the board wasn't having it. They voted unanimously to suspend all HOA dock enforcement and advised her to resign. She stormed out alone. Her gold scarf got caught on a chair. Her empire crumbled. Nevertheless, she attempted one final stunt: a Lake Heritage Festival, scheduled to distract from the inspection of the county dock. But the inspectors were not deceived. They itemized all of the infractions: unauthorized changes to the shoreline, unlicensed concrete, prohibited drainage. That night, she got an official notice of violation with a 14-day expiration date and a prohibition on dock use. Her jet ski, kayak, and pontoon boat were sidelined. Neighbors started coming to me for assistance: permits, queries, even banana bread. Vanessa unwound, processing frantic complaints and threatening me with bribery. The HOA board, in fear of legal repercussions, suspended her citations and overruled several ridiculous regulations. Relief washed over the community. Folks swapped tales, wind chime fines, splashing children ticketed. We met one morning on my dock, laughing, sipping coffee, organizing an actual community club. Peace resumed, children played, wind chimes clanged, balloons drifted, without fear of fines. But Vanessa wasn't finished. 17 days after that, I got a certified letter, a lawsuit alleging defamation and emotional distress, basing it on my boat's plaque as symbolic aggression. It was ridiculous, but I replied. At trial, her attorney wove a tale of bullying and trauma. I produced a binder full of documentation, permits, inspection reports, HOA rules, my harbormaster credentials. She overestimated the exit and crashed into the door heading out. The thud was audible as the courtroom suppressed laughter. A week later, Vanessa quit. The state penalized her $7,000 for violations of the dock and mandated complete removal and shoreline restoration. The community replaced the board. I turned down a seat. My spot is on the water. That weekend, we had a lakeside barbecue. Grilled food, guitars, children splashing. Vanessa waited behind her window, a silhouette behind quivering blinds. I sat on my dock, coffee in my hand. The lake was calm, serene. She attempted to tow my boat, intimidate my peace, and dominate the lake. She failed, not because I yelled more loudly, but because I understood the rules better. Justice didn't come with sirens. It came with stealth, a rescinded dock permit, a dropped lawsuit, and a lake at peace from her presence.